firstly, as a parliamentary sports club, we are about community sport. It's what we do. Many of you will see, many of our guests today will have seen, we just get out there and have a go. And we like to think of ourselves as a real grassroots sports club. But there are some community sports organisations that do an amazing job. And so we have these awards, Sport for All Award and the Sustainable Sport Award. You will see from your programmes that the winners this year are Football United and the Australian Paralympic Committee.
This is not a story about sport. It's a story about kids, refugee kids, and the power of football, the world game, to change their lives.
I came down the mountains from the Solomons. I was in the Solomon Islands, and these kids playing barefoot soccer. Up until then, the word refugee didn't mean anything to me. And then I saw refugee camps, and I just couldn't believe the horror of people losing their families, not being able to ever return to what they call home.
I was born in Togo. I escaped the war with my parents to Ghana.
I was born in Iraq. During the war, my father was taken to prison.
I was born in a refugee camp in Kenya, and I don't know what happened to my parents.
This isn't about football. This is about building our communities. It's about working together. It's about equal opportunities for anybody. It's passion for something that you can't describe really in words. You just have to see.
What it does at its core is allow children to dream.
Football United's been chosen by FIFA to represent Australia at the Festival of Our Hope during the World Cup this year.
We're on the way to South Africa, man. I don't know if I'm dreaming or not.
Going to South Africa because that will be my first time since I came here to go back to South Africa. It would just remind me about my past, and I'm just gonna look back on the improvement and how far I come. So
Can't wait to go overseas, do us proud, do everyone proud, do United, my family, and then we'll be back.
MD made an unbelievable save. Sure?
I truly think that people that witness this program can't go away unchanged.
Great games, great team, and really pleased for the 161 athletes, pilots, guides and their coaches.
It's been amazing. It's been, I guess you say, life-changing. I've seen a lot of things that I never thought I'd see. So it's really opened my eyes to the world of Paralympic sport.
It's been a wonderful experience, actually. 8 gold medals and a couple of world records to boot.
This has been amazing. The games with the crowd, 80,000 in the heats in the morning, is just amazing for Paralympic sport, and to show that we're professional now, and it's really moving along. It's great.
I think this is the best team we've ever had. It's been a real pleasure to be a part of this team, and I feel that probably more strongly than I ever have for any other team.
The biggest thing that we've had different this time is we're a real team this time, and obviously there's 12 guys. Every time you play, 11 of your best mates are out there, and I've had just an awesome time.
People have been encouraging nearly all the Paralympians, and it's just been amazing to become a new Paralympian.
I'm supposed to be proud, you know. There's not many people in the world that can say that they've gone to a Paralympic or an Olympic Games.
It's definitely a standout group of people, you know, people that have had disabilities or illnesses and have overcome them and gone above and beyond.
I don't consider myself as much of a role model, but you know, with the experience I have, I guess I am. But that's an honour
we're really pleased with what's happened here, but we're pretty excited about, I think, what's available to us in Rio as well. So the game keeps playing.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Andy and team, for making this possible. Thank you, Kate, and a number of other people that have been able to support us over the years. I just want to say very quickly, because I know that you don't want to hear long speeches, but those kids you saw in that video, they're just a few kids among thousands that we've been able to reach with Football United. And I think the thing that's really strong about Football United is we're able to use sport for all the good things that sport can do and so much more. And so football brings all these kids together, but football paves the way for a number of other things. And we have leadership programs and coaching programs, and every single one of those kids are now either in TAFE or uni. All of them are working to build Football United and keep it going. So the award is really apropos, as we say. I mean, we have those kids are now coordinating programs, they're coaching, they're mentors for secondary school programs down to primary school programs. We're bringing the sport to where the kids are, we're building Australia. And just one quick anecdote, and I'll stop. But when we were getting ready to go to South Africa, I was thinking, well, these kids are going to want to celebrate their multiculturalism. And so in our minds, we had like rainbow uniforms and all sorts of stuff. And we brought the kids together and we said, okay, what do you want? Because Adidas was giving us the opportunity to design our own uniforms. And we said, what do you guys want? And we had a sort of a workshop, and we showed what they could have. And one kid raised his hand, he goes, well, we want the Australian emblem right here, and we want the flag here, and we want, the Matildas across the back. And all they wanted was Australia. And these kids have come from the most dramatic circumstances, and they are building a new life in this country, and they are forging the way. And the program has gone way beyond newly arrived. We're reaching kids in socioeconomically challenged areas, and just look up our website, footballunited.org.au, and you can see we're bringing the communities together. Football is just one of the sports that can do that, and we're just really, really happy to have this recognition, so thank you.
As all of you would know, because you were up watching the Paralympics, I had the pleasure of sharing the London 2012 experience with, well, not only with Jason, obviously with all our talented athletes, and what an adventure it was. It was the best ever. Are we allowed to say that?
Yeah, I think we are. Paralympic sport, you've got to be careful. I think the 2000 Games in Sydney really changed Paralympic sport for the world, but comparing Sydney and London's a bit like comparing the last two London Games. So much has happened in the Olympic context. That's what's happened in Paralympic sport in that 12-year period. So Sydney stands alone for really being transformational in the way it introduced Paralympic sport to the world and changed the way Paralympic sport was viewed in Australia, but London took it to a whole other level. So there's no problem saying it was the best ever. They were terrific.
And it was amazing for the athletes as well. London had run, Channel 4 in London had run an advertising campaign called Meet the Superhumans, and it was a truly superb campaign, and these athletes were appropriately glorified. And when you look at our team, we heard some of them talk, the beautiful Ellie Cole, who we'll be speaking to shortly, Maddie Elliott, only 13 years old. And we had Libby Kosmala, a shooter who is 76, is she? 70. Close to 80, 70 is she? Okay, close to 70.
Won't tell you said that.
70-ish, who's now retired after 11 games. And it was a phenomenal experience for all the athletes. What was your standout? And remember, Ellie's sitting over there.
Ellie, every one of Ellie Cole's swims were a standout. They were a lot. I think for me, actually, before I do that, can I just acknowledge
our games were very successful. The games themselves were, but the Australian experience was particularly successful. And the campaign over a long period of time has been led by our President, Greg Hartung. And it would be very improper of me not to acknowledge Greg's leadership over a long period of time. And quite seriously, that support and that stability of leadership makes my job and our team's job imminently easier. So thank you. Standout for me, I had the great privilege on day one, event one, of sitting next to the Minister for Sport, Kate Lundy, at the shooting and watching Nat Smith win a bronze medal, which sounds very innocuous, but it was an extraordinarily dramatic final of the 10-metre air rifle. After 9 of the 10 shots, Nat was in 5th spot, and with her final shot, she snuck up and won a bronze medal by 0.1. And it was great for her and her sport that hadn't had a lot of success, hadn't had a lot of profile lately in that sort of winning medal context. And it was a real credit to her and her coaches. But it also typified what our whole campaign was about. We have this saying in the organisation that everything matters and everyone counts. And elite sport's like that, but so is participation. Everything you do is really important because it aggregates up to something that people can participate in, either play sport or participate in as an elite athlete, and it really does count. And when someone wins a bronze medal by 0.1, the narrowest of margin, in a sport where the target's only a millimetre and a bit big to start with, it just was really important for our whole team and our whole campaign, and it just said something really great, and I was delighted for Nat in particular. And so for me that was great. And the swim, I hope Ellie talks about it a bit later, we won a gold medal in the women's relay. I've watched it 8 times. I don't know how we won. I still can't work out how we won that gold medal. I'm sure Ellie will explain it a little bit more, but it was one of the most... People who know swimming, so Glenn Tasker, who's one of our board members, Glenn was the competition manager for swimming for the Sydney Games in 2000 and Chief Executive Officer for swimming for a number of years, knows swimming extremely well. He said to me he thinks it's one of the greatest swims by an Australian relay team ever in the history of Australian swimming. And I think he's right. And there was just 2 others. Matt Cowdery becoming our most prolific winner of gold medals ever. The debate, and I'm sure that the South Australians in the room no doubt celebrate that very heartily. And one for us as an organisation, the Australian Paralympic Committee, we manage the program for wheelchair rugby in Australia, and since it came into the Games in 1996, the US had been the only gold medalists. And our program really made some big changes a number of years ago, and Brad Doubley came on board as coach, and the players were challenged to change their lives and become elite athletes in the true sense. And in the period since, over 5 years, just what they've done as a group of people and as a team, I haven't witnessed that in sport before. And when they won that gold medal, the last gold medal of the Games for us, Greg Smith, who was our flag bearer, scored the last goal, which meant that we won the 4th quarter of the gold medal game, which meant that that team had won every quarter of every match over the campaign. It was just, it was really great. So there's a snapshot for you, but it was great. And I must say, when you're over there, you don't really understand what's going on. You're busy working really hard to create a very uncluttered, high-performance environment. But we're getting, the press clippings and so on were coming back, and since we've gotten home, the feedback from everyone about the coverage from the ABC has been extraordinary. So to you and your colleagues and the team at the ABC, a very big thank you. And as the national broadcaster, I can think of no better place to acknowledge it in a room of our federal parliamentarians. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jason. I'm sure the highlight of everyone's Paralympic Games was the night that we showed the wheelchair rugby, and we stayed on air to show it live, and we knew it would tick past midnight in Australia. So the production staff came out and gave us all pyjamas, and we hadn't expected Jason to stay with us. So he got to wear mine, the pink pyjamas, and is such a good sport about it.
You and I aren't wearing the same pyjamas.
Okay, so they're a bit long on you. It's fine. Just before you go, and we are going to serve the main meal very, very shortly, but what does Paralympic sport need to succeed in the future? You've got a captive audience. I'll give you 20 seconds.
Look, our principal partner is government, and we work really hard to use the funding that we get very efficiently from government and from the corporate sector. So, we've got a really busy time between now and Christmas to make sure that the Paralympic movement in Australia takes the advantage that London has delivered, and we plan to be in this position. So, we've got to take advantage of it now. But, it's not just about funding. Funding is really critical, and we obviously, all of Australian sport needs more funding. I don't think this is a debate about the merits of any single organisation over another. I think sport is the social glue that plays a really important role in the culture and the landscape and the vitality that is Australianness. But for us, we've got some big challenges. We've got new sports coming on the program for Rio in canoe and triathlon. We've got snowboard coming onto the winter program. Everything that we do has got to ratchet up again. So, support from government, support from the corporate sector is really critical, but we've also got to make sure that we keep improving as an organisation, and no one's entitled to anything. No one has a God-given right to government funding or to corporate funding. We have to make sure that our proposition is really strong and that we deliver and do what we say we're going to do, plus a little bit more. And I think we've got a history of doing that, and our intention is to keep doing it really well. So the support's very important, both in a policy sense, but of course in a funding sense, and we're looking forward to that continuing, but also to engaging more fulsomely with corporate Australia.
Great stuff. Jason Hurwood, congratulations. Thank you very much.
Thanks.